Welcome back. I had to kick Sasha out of the studio because the next interview I just had to do. If you've been following me at all, you'll know that I have been accused of being a Sony fangirl. And today I'm going to be talking with Damjan from Sony because Sony has announced 2 new devices here at the show, both of which I've gone hands-on with and both of which are still in the same beautiful design language as the Xperia lineup. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So can you tell me a little bit about the 2 phones that you've launched?
Yeah, so we have two new flagships here. One for the ones who prefer the big display, and one which prefer more the compact size.
So this would be the Sony Xperia
XZ. Exactly.
Excellent. So if we actually want to show a quick video of that now, and we'll just keep talking about it because I do really like this phone. So it stays in the same kind of design language as the previous Xperia lineup. So if you are a Sony fan, you're going to be completely happy with what you've done here.
Very happy. Exactly.
Excellent. So it's a 5.2-inch display.
Exactly. Yep.
And which processor is it running again?
It's running the Qualcomm 820.
820. That's correct.
3 gigabytes of RAM and 32 gigabytes of RAM. So people have actually plenty of space for good pictures. And you can extend the memory with 256 micro SD card.
If you can afford a 256 gig micro SD card.
Sooner or later.
Sooner or later we'll be able to afford it. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, so we can see it here. Sasha's actually playing around with it on the show floor.
Yeah.
I mean, like, so we have the blue version here, but this is the gold version, but there's actually a full range of colors that the XZ comes in.
Exactly. So the XZ comes in our hero color, which is the forest blue, which I like very much because of the Alcalado finish that comes with it. So it has like this shimmering glow. And
the back is completely metal.
Exactly. This is aluminum. We have a metal frame and a metal back. And obviously also, again, a nice fingerprint sensor where it comes handy, so the on-off button.
I really enjoy the placement of this fingerprint sensor. I mean, when you use it, you really feel like James Bond.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Just
because
unlock your world.
It's right where you put your thumb, and it's not like the other ones where you put it on the front button, and it's a little less natural.
Yeah, and it's not laggy at all. So just with one finger press, it's open, and you're in your world, in your personal world.
Excellent. So Sony actually has a lot of really interesting applications. So there's actually LifeLog and a lot of your own native, like your own native music player and voice recorder as well.
Yeah. So we actually always try to not to install too many applications, but at the end of the day, we take the best of them. So if a user wants to have music, album, and video, which are our core applications that are already coming with the device, LifeLog for health logging, for example, to check your fitness is also coming with the device. But then obviously, Spotify, for example, for music streaming.
Which is absolutely great. Now there's one app that I wanted to talk about here. So this is the Xperia Ear. Here, I'll hold this if you want to grab the ear. So this actually is out from last year, and I did actually give this an award. Last year.
Thank you very much for that.
I haven't actually taken it on my own and used it as my Bluetooth earpiece, but it's so much more than just something that helps you receive calls.
Exactly, it's your personal assistant. So once you put it in your ear, it tells you, okay, good morning, Damjan. Today is Saturday. We're here at IFA, and your next appointment will be, for example, the Mobilegeeks talk. And then you can talk to it and say, okay, create a message too, and it will directly be composed. You can be navigated over Google Maps if you want to, just to turn left and right. This is completely enough for voice commands, so you don't actually need a display. And I believe that personal assistance or artificial intelligence, which comes in a very handy format here, will enrich people's life.
Perfect. The concept of having like a personal assistant in your ear, this is something that we've seen before with Google Now. And I find like the reason I gave you an award last year is that I really found it very interesting that Sony had their own layer on top of it.
Exactly.
Right. So artificial intelligence is something that's, kind of a little bit of a buzzword, but at the same time, it has real value.
Exactly.
And being able to understand natural speech and natural language is something that everyone struggles with, but I think Google's doing a fairly good job at that.
They do.
But for execution, for productivity, I found that there's definitely a layer missing.
Exactly.
And that's kind of where I thought Sony came in to provide like real value to their customers. So I thought that was a really unique feature that I haven't seen that much this year at IFA, even though you guys announced this last year.
We actually did, but maybe it didn't come through very good, because we actually also announced the Xperia projector and the Xperia agent.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
and both are coming with exactly the same voice recognition software, and even one more. So when we show the agent on our booth, we can tell him, okay, show me the latest movie I was enjoying with you. So it knows me personally and would then be able to stream directly that movie on the TV. So the agent gives the command to the TV that I'm asking him for, and also he can play back my favorite music. So he knows my behavior. If you have him in the kitchen, for example, you can even ask him to brew some coffee for you, because he knows your habits. Yeah, so there's a face recognition embedded, and he greets me in the morning and says, "Hey Damien, you look a little bit tired. How about a cup of coffee?" And then he would say, "Okay, like usual," because he knows my preference, and then he brews my coffee. So that's just one of the, let's say, use cases that are coming up. But if you have a smart home, and that assistant will get smarter with every day of your life and your usage behavior, he can really bypass, let's say, the most time-consuming stuff, which you usually don't want to do, and which steals your time in the morning. So you can be really efficient, but also with a glimpse of a smile, because that agent, for example, he is very, very nice. He smiles at you and he blinks like this, and even talks a little. Let's say shakes a little bit.
Shakes a little bit. Yeah. So I have to admit that during the press conference, or after the press conference, I was very focused on just the handsets.
Yes, yes.
So and then I immediately ran away to go upload my videos. So I haven't been back to the Sony booth to see anything else that you guys have shown. So
you're welcome.
I will have to come back and definitely do a booth tour. Sony always has like a very beautiful booth, very nicely laid out. And Sony's actually one of the very few companies that I think provides a holistic ecosystem view, because you have cameras, you have TVs, smartphones,
many
headphones,
smart
action
products,
adventure products.
action cam. We
for dogs, even.
Yes,
I remember this.
yes. And for us, it's the perfect time to engage with the people. I mean, this is the biggest consumer fair in Europe, so this is the time where you need to show off all your products and let people touch the device, so that they can actually play with it and then make up their mind if they want to buy it. So. For us, it's always best feedback. For example, we have also a part where we have an R&D stand positioned, where we are presenting our Future Lab program, and one project is called Project N, and that is actually a cooperation with the customer. So the consumer tells us what he likes and dislikes in our new upcoming product. So we can directly take improvements and adopt it to his needs, so that we know what the consumer actually wants. So that's very important. And that's also with the smartphone. So we have many product managers and developers for specific parts of the device always at hand. So they get to talk to people and ask them if they are actually happy with the user interface, with the design and the features, so that they can implement and improve on the next devices. So
absolutely. I mean, from this generation, from the last generation to this generation, I really like what Sony's done with the UI. I think you have really listened to your customers. It's a little more stock Android than it was before. I didn't mind the Sony flavor, but at the same time, I think everyone loves stock Android.
Oh yes,
and like your additions from my limited time playing with it seem like quite smart and very pulled together. And one thing that I do want to touch upon, because we were chatting before we came in, and you actually were the one who did the translation for the settings in the back end.
Yes, exactly.
Now that's something that I never really thought about, that each individual company would have to take the time to translate it into each language, because you think Google does all of these different languages and it would just be automatic, but at the same time there's lots of settings that are especially for your handset. So can you talk a little bit about that experience and give our audience a little bit of insight into what was going on there?
I mean, it's always very special when it comes to local languages. I mean, we talked about it earlier that the Germans have like super long expression for a small tiny word in English. And we need to sit there and really think about, okay, so how do we call that in German? Because Germans are efficient for sure, but when it comes to expressions, they sometimes always
3 words in one, and then it's
exactly. And for us as a translator, it's always important that people get to understand the menu in a glimpse. So they just want to, okay, this is a menu, but I understand it. So that's so super important that we then get in a room with a team, with all the translators worldwide, and actually try to understand the message of that menu item. So we discuss a lot. It takes long time so that we get the shortest and best expression for that tiny little menu.
And so all of the Sony translators globally came together in Sweden to kind of like sit down and kind of
lock them down for 2-3 weeks. No air, no light, nothing, but pure efficiency.
So now let's talk about the X Compact.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of small form factor handsets because it actually took me a long time to realize that especially men don't like having big phones. Like everyone kind of says, oh, it's for women with their smaller hands. But the truth is that everyone who asks me for a small handset, it's a man. Yep. Because men wear tight pants right now, and so when they put their pockets in their pants, they need a smaller phone, which I found very, very funny.
Yeah, you have one advantage. You always have a bag.
I always have a handbag.
So we cannot do that.
It really took me about 2 years to adopt this handbag thing. Yeah. But after I discovered buying nice handbags, I was hooked. So the X Compact is no compromises still.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you can tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah. So we actually wanted to implement everything that the big device, the XZ, also has. So giving it the best camera, so no compromise on this. So we have also here the 23 megapixel camera with laser autofocus, RGB IR sensor. We also come with the latest USB-C plug here, and also with a fingerprint. But everything in a small and compact size. Usually you would prefer to have like 2 days of stamina, so battery performance, and that's the main purpose here. So we guarantee that 2 days it's a good job for the battery here, and you shouldn't take care about when to charge the phone next. You should go and wake up in the morning, do your thing, and then go to sleep, and the battery should still last. So that's what we ensure with our technology.
That's definitely one of the things. Sony devices are 2 days of real battery life. I mean, if you're a light to medium user, you can definitely get through 2 days. And if you're more of a heavy user, I think that you have the charging pattern of going to bed, not charging, and then maybe charging when you get to work, or maybe charging a little bit like during the day. It's not a charging pattern that most phones have, where you plug it in at night.
Yeah. Right? So that's actually a tip which I would like to give to the audience, maybe also. Because most people don't know that charging over 80% is usually a bad thing for the battery. So what we actually did on this device is we took a Qnovo algorithm to make sure that the battery is charged right. So once you get to sleep and your alarm will be at 7 o'clock and you plugged it in overnight, it will not charge to 100% all the time. It will charge to 80% until 6 o'clock, and then say, okay, in the last 1 hour, I charge up to 100%.
Really?
So that's the smartness of our charging algorithm. And that actually helps the battery to prolong the lifetime by 2.
Really?
Yeah.
So, are there any other smartphone manufacturers doing this? This is actually the first time that I've really heard this. I've heard about charging algorithms and these types of things in order mostly around quick charge, right? So everyone has different quick charge technologies, and then like the last 20% is traditionally always the longest.
Yeah.
Like the way that I put it is that the battery's full, so it takes longer to figure out where to put the energy, where to put the energy in.
Exactly, exactly.
That's my like layman's term explanation for how it works.
Like Tetris for batteries.
Like Tetris for batteries. So does it also have to do with that this last 20% is more challenging to fit the energy in?
Exactly. And we partnered up with a company called Qnovo, and we are the first to implement that kind of charging technology. And that's really good because, yes, we embed the battery in the backside, so you don't have a removable battery. We make sure that we have guarantee, 2 years of guarantee for the battery, which is also very good. But then we said, okay, how to prolong the battery life? And that's when Qnovo kicks in. We still have the quick charge functionality you mentioned, so 10 minutes charging, 1 hour speak. So that still works, but if you really want to make sure that the battery lasts, you better turn on the charging algorithm.
Oh, interesting. So when can we expect to see these devices on the market?
Actually, the X Compact comes to market next week.
Next week?
Yeah, exactly. Already.
Really?
So go on.
Oh, that's great. I didn't actually know that.
Yeah.
So that was actually, to be honest with you, as a Sony fan, that was always one of the things that really annoyed me, is that you would announce the phone, and then it would take too long for it to come to market, and then like the momentum would be lost, and like though you make great handsets, I always felt like there was never the same kind of uptake as some of the other handset manufacturers, because there's
always a gap, right?
Yeah, and then sometimes it was like later. There wasn't even an end date. It was like second half of the year. You're like, whoa, that's a little.
No.
I'm really glad to hear that you've learned this lesson.
Exactly. So also there we listen to our customers. So to take the momentum, to really announce a product at IFA, which goes really big in social media, for example, and take that momentum and bring it to the store. So next week it's available in Europe or worldwide for 449 euros.
For 449 euros. And so when can we expect the big brother?
3 weeks later.
Still 3. That's not bad.
Exactly.
3 weeks later, that's completely not bad.
Yep.
Very good work. This is genuinely one of the things that I was really wishing that would change. That would happen. That would definitely would happen.
And that one will come or retail for 699.
699.
Yeah.
Still very competitively priced for other flagships.
Exactly.
Definitely.
And we are really happy that the feedback was so great. Social media said finally a design which sticks out of the other smartphones, and we call it actually a unified design. So a loop interface, and if you do like this, then you will really feel that it has that curved glass, that 2.5D curved glass, which is like a massage to your hand.
So, to be honest with you, Sasha and I have this test in the office where it is like our in-hand test is actually spinning the phone around.
Yeah.
Right. Samsung does take it a little bit over this one because they have the curved glass on both sides.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So literally, you can like, and I'm like, that's too fast. But it's very nice that there is a very similar design language. I see now that there is definitely 2.5D along the side, and I like that there's a protective kind of barrier along the edge there, because to me, a 2.5D glass displays tend to crack easier or chip easier along the sides. And it's because most smartphone manufacturers place them on top of the phone kind of like a little bubble, right? So it kind of goes up and over like this, and then the glass is really truly exposed. Right, which it doesn't matter how good Gorilla Glass 4 is. If the glass is exposed on the edge, the glass is exposed on the edge.
Exactly.
There's really no way around it. But you guys have taken the edge and kind of protected it, brought this side up a little bit. Yeah, we're going to try to get in there. I'll stop moving the phone around. Oh, maybe we can actually cut to the video because I think we do show it a little bit in there. Yeah.
Yeah, here you
we
go,
have
here
it.
you
No,
go.
wait, don't cut to the video. There it is. All right, so you can see it here, how the plastic comes up, and then we have the 2.5D glass curved right here. So it's actually really, really interesting the way that Sony's done. This is the first time that I've seen somebody take a protective coating and kind of curve it over. So it does have that more polished look across the front. Well, let me just turn that on. Oh, there it is. Right, yeah. So you can kind of see that up on the front there, and then the way that comes around. Very interesting. Yeah, very nice design language along the bottom, right? With the, like, this is very Sony.
Yes.
Yeah, this is very Sony, but there's that really nice accenting there with the color. Like the attention to detail and design on Sony devices has always been, in my opinion, one of the best.
Yeah, we really get inspired by fashion industry, by nature, and we try to implement those kind of materials which we find over there. So here we have obviously the aluminum material, which is already very premium, and then the finishing with the Alcalado, which gives it this twist, and which looks every time different once you move it around a little bit. And on the compact, we actually were inspired by ceramics. Yeah,
Interesting.
Here we wanted to have a finish that is kind of ceramic design, and that's how you get to build real devices or smart products which remember you of things you actually surrounded with on daily basis. Yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, the compact definitely has a beautiful design, and there is something to the fact that it does have a much kind of smaller and compact one-handed display.
Yeah.
My only suggestion for the next time, because I am a fangirl, we need to decrease the size of the top and the bottom a little bit.
We will work on that, promise.
Please work on that. That is my one request for the next generation.
Okay. We will do our best to do that.
Please do.
Yeah, and but we still need to make sure that we have also a good front-facing camera for you embedded, so that you can take good pictures.
Definitely.
So,
and I noticed here on the XZ is that you had the NFC here on the front. Which is very, very nice. I mean, because usually, well, like on the compact, it's around on the back right there.
Exactly.
But here they have it on the front because the back here is all metal, and NFC will work better not through a metal backing. So there's this really good attention to detail where a lot of handset manufacturers still put the NFC on the back. And if all the people from TechLounge remember, I have an RFID chip in this hand. So to me, like the thought process on that is actually quite nice.
Yes.
Yeah, I do really like that.
So we want to make sure that people who are starting with NFC payment and whatever NFC unlocks to you, can do it in a good way. So we also one of the founding members of the NFC forum. You might know that in Japan it's already a big thing since ages. So Felica is popular over there like for 10 years. But here in Germany it just picks up. So there are several tests and use cases where you go and use that NFC payment for public transport, for example, or paying your coffee in a coffee shop. But at the end of the day, Europe is a little bit lagging behind when it comes to adaptation to NFC. So all our products, at least in our portfolio, work together. Every smart speaker has NFC embedded, every headphone has NFC, even the remote control of our TVs has NFC. So that's a simply get to know each other with one simple touch.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually not all in on NFC or Android Pay and NFC payments as well. Being based in Taiwan, there's actually like cards.
Credit card.
NFC, like the octopus card in Hong Kong, we have the Easy card in Taipei.
Okay.
So that's kind of the NFC payment that we've adopted in taxis and all of this. And for some reason, they've never put a payment system onto a phone.
Oh.
So
surprising.
Surprising, actually very surprising. But at the same time, I haven't moved over to Android Pay, but Americans have.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
America is very pervasive with Android Pay and Apple Pay and all the rest of these. So it is very important that NFC be not something that you're like
exactly. And
really
we
fussing
need to
around
make sure
with.
that it works good. So that's why if you have like a plastic bag, you can put the NFC antenna here, so it works perfectly. But with a
on the
metal
front.
bag, we made sure we put it on the front because we want to, come up to our own standards, and we have very high standard when it comes to NFC. So we better make sure it works.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to join me and talk about all the things to do with Sony.
Thank you so much.
It is really really happy to hear that the X Compact is coming out next week and the XZ just in 3 weeks.
Exactly.
So I'm going to be looking forward to getting my review samples and really kind of putting them through the paces. All right, guys. So we will be back in just about 5 minutes with Sasha, who has another guest that I didn't write down. Sorry about that. We'll see you guys in just a minute.